In the foothills of Virginia, buried somewhere beneath centuries of earth and oak roots, lies a fortune so vast that it would be worth millions in today's currency. 200 years ago, a mysterious man left behind 3 encrypted letters, a puzzle locked in numbers, mathematics, and cryptographic genius. One has been solved, to remain unsolved, and somewhere, hidden in those unbroken codes, lies the location of treasure that has consumed the lives of obsessed fortune seekers, cryptographers, and historians. But here's what haunts us most. We still don't know if Thomas Beale's treasure even exists, or if it's the greatest hoax ever perpetrated on American soil. I am Mr. Roney. I hope you will enjoy today's video and discover many unknown facts. Let's begin. In the early 1820s, the small town of Lynchburg, Virginia, was a thriving outpost of American expansion. A modest innkeeper named Robert Morris ran a comfortable tavern where merchants, travelers, and settlers passed through with tales of fortune and frontier conquest. One fateful evening, a well-dressed stranger arrived at Morris's inn. His name was Thomas Beale. He was in his early 30s, spoke with measured intelligence, and carried himself with the bearing of a man who had seen hardship and wealth. Beale checked into the inn and stayed for several weeks. During his visit, he became friendly with Morris, so friendly, in fact, that before departing, he entrusted the innkeeper with a sealed iron box and made a peculiar request. "If I do not return within 10 years, Beale instructed, "open this box and read what is inside." Morris agreed, placing the box in his safekeeping. Thomas Beale then rode away into the American frontier. Robert Morris would never see him again. For a decade, Robert Morris kept his promise. He did not open the iron box, but as years passed and Thomas Beale never returned, Morris's curiosity and anxiety grew unbearable. In 1835, now an older man, Morris finally broke the seal. Inside the box was a letter and 3 separate pages, each filled with nothing but numbers. The letter, written in Thomas Beale's own hand, explained the mystery. Beale claimed that in 1817 or 1818, he had led an expedition into the uncharted territories west of the Mississippi River. There, his party had discovered an enormous deposit of gold and silver in a remote location. The treasure was so immense that Beale and his companions decided to bury it, marking the location with cryptographic precision. Beale then entrusted Morris with 3 ciphers, 3 different codes that, if broken, would reveal the location of the treasure, a list of the expedition members, and instructions for claiming the fortune. But there was a catch. Without the proper decryption keys, the ciphers were unsolvable. Beale had ensured that only the worthy or the obsessed would ever unlock his secrets. James Ward's breakthrough was ingenious. He realized that one of the ciphers might be what cryptographers call a book cipher, meaning that the numbers referred to specific words in a known published text. But which text? Ward experimented with dozens of possibilities, and then he tried something radical. He used the Declaration of Independence. The logic was compelling. The Declaration was one of the most widely circulated, publicly available documents in America. Every educated person would have access to it. If Thomas Beale needed a key that was simultaneously secret and universally known, the Declaration of Independence was perfect. Ward began the decryption. Using the Declaration as his guide, he substituted numbers for words. The process was painstaking. Each number corresponded to a specific word in the Declaration, with the first letter of that word revealing a letter in the plain text message. And then, miraculously, the numbers transformed into readable English. The second cipher revealed its contents. "I have deposited in the county of Bedford, about 4 miles from Beaufort's, in an excavation or vault 6 feet below the surface of the ground." Treasure's location had finally been revealed after nearly a century of mystery. The second cipher revealed more than just a location. It disclosed the approximate contents of the buried treasure. According to Beale's own numbers, the vault contained approximately 2,921 pounds of gold and 5,100 pounds of silver. In 1820s currency, that would be worth roughly $63,000. But in modern terms, conservative estimates place that fortune at over $40 million in today's money. The cipher also provided specific details. The gold and silver had been carefully placed in iron pots and sealed with lead. The treasure had been buried about 4 miles from Beaufort's in Bedford County, Virginia, a location that is, to this day, known as Beaufort's in local records. For treasure hunters, this was tantalizing. They had a specific county, a specific distance, and a specific fortune, but the location was far from precise. Bedford County covers hundreds of square miles, and more troubling still, the locations of historical landmarks shift over centuries. What was 4 miles from Beaufort's in 1820 might not mean the same thing in modern coordinates. The search had begun in earnest, and it has never truly ended. Once James Ward published his findings first in a private pamphlet, then in newspapers, the Beale cipher became a national sensation. Treasure hunters flooded into Bedford County. Some were opportunists, some were genuine cryptographers, some were simply desperate men seeking fortune. Throughout the late 1800s and early 1900s, dozens of excavations were attempted near Beaufort's. Holes were dug in fields, hillsides were searched. Local families reported strangers arriving with shovels and maps, asking questions about old landmarks. The obsession spread beyond Virginia. Cryptographers from across America attempted to solve the first and third ciphers. Universities took interest. Amateur code breakers spent their life savings chasing the puzzle. One man, a mathematics professor, devoted 30 years to trying to crack cipher number 1. Another, a railway worker, spent his evenings hunched over the numbers, convinced he was on the brink of a breakthrough that never came. The ciphers became more than a historical curiosity. They became an obsession, a psychological trap that consumed the lives of intelligent, rational people. Some historians would later wonder if this obsession itself was Beale's greatest treasure, not gold and silver, but the mystery that would haunt America for centuries. If the second cipher revealed its secrets, the first cipher proved far more obstinate. Cryptographers attempted every known decryption method: book ciphers using different texts, substitution ciphers based on mathematical progressions, keyword ciphers, Vigenère ciphers. Nothing worked. The first cipher, which supposedly contained the names and details of the expedition, members who buried the treasure, remained locked. Throughout the 20th century, the puzzle attracted ever more sophisticated attempts. During World War II, military code breakers used the latest cryptographic technology on the ciphers. Nothing. In the 1970s and 1980s, as computers became more powerful, treasure hunters and cryptanalysts fed the ciphers into early digital systems. Still nothing. The first cipher's resistance suggested something troubling. Either Thomas Beale had possessed cryptographic knowledge so advanced that it was centuries ahead of his time, or ran this possibility haunted historians. Beale's letter was an elaborate hoax. Perhaps there was no treasure at all. Perhaps it was all an elaborate practical joke designed to deceive Robert Morris and torment future generations with an impossible puzzle. By the mid-20th century, serious historians and cryptographers began to question the entire narrative. Was Thomas Beale real? Had he actually led an expedition? Contemporary records from the 1810s-1820s showed no mention of Beale, no expedition, no discovery of gold. Some scholars argued that Beale might have been a pseudonym. Others suggested that James Ward himself had created the entire hoax as an elaborate literary puzzle, a work of fiction disguised as history. Researcher Peter V. Meister conducted extensive research into historical records and found virtually no corroboration for Beale's story. No expedition members' names appeared in historical documents. No gold rush to distant territories in 18171818 that would match Beale's claims. No contemporary accounts of such a discovery. This sparked a fierce debate in historical circles. If Beale never existed, and if his expedition was fictional, then what of the treasure? Was it merely elaborate cryptographic puzzler? Creative work designed to entertain and challenge future generations. The mystery deepened. Was the Beale cipher a genuine document hiding authentic treasure, or was it literature masquerading as history? Despite historical doubts, the treasure hunters never stopped coming. Throughout the 20th century and into the 21st, people arrived in Bedford County, convinced that they held the key to solving the ciphers. Some were eccentric, some were brilliant, some were both. A retired FBI cryptographer spent years developing computer algorithms specifically designed to crack the first cipher. A software engineer created advanced pattern recognition software, feeding it variations of the ciphers. An amateur historian meticulously mapped every possible location, 4 miles from Beaufort's, dividing the county into grids and systematically searching each section. Many dug holes. Some found old artifacts, colonial-era coins, artifacts from earlier settlements, but nothing that matched Beale's description. The obsession had transformed the mystery itself into a kind of psychological phenomenon. It wasn't merely about finding treasure anymore. It was about the hunt, about the belief that one person, with the right insight or the right code, could solve what centuries of intelligent minds had failed to crack. The ciphers had become more valuable than any treasure. They were the embodiment of the unsolvable mystery, the eternal human desire to decode the impossible. As we reach the present day, the Beale ciphers remain largely unsolved and utterly unresolved. The first cipher, supposedly containing expedition member names, has never been decrypted despite the centuries of attempts. The third cipher, which should theoretically contain instructions for claiming the treasure, also remains locked. Modern cryptanalysts using artificial intelligence, quantum computing concepts, and advanced statistical analysis have made no breakthrough. The treasure, if it exists, remains buried. Thomas Beale's location, if he was a real person, remains a mystery, and the most profound question persists. Is this a genuine historical document describing a real buried fortune, or is it an elaborate 200-year-old hoax? The truth is that we may never know. The ciphers have become the perfect mystery, impossible to definitively solve, impossible to definitively disprove. They exist in that liminal space between history and fiction, fact and legend. Some believe that one day, someone will crack the remaining ciphers and unearth Beale's treasure. Others believe the treasure never existed, that it is purely a psychological creation, a dream encoded in numbers, but perhaps that ambiguity itself is the real revelation. In the 21st century, the Beale cipher mystery has taken on new dimensions with advances in archaeological technology and historical analysis. Ground-penetrating radar, metal detection equipment, and satellite imaging have transformed the search. Teams of researchers equipped with modern tools have systematically scanned areas near the historical Beaufort's location, searching for anomalies beneath the surface that might indicate a vault. Yet despite these technological advances, no conclusive evidence of Beale's treasure has been found. What has emerged, however, is a more nuanced historical picture. Archaeological evidence suggests that the Beale cipher narrative contains chronological inconsistencies that make the 1817 to 1818 expedition timeline highly problematic. No contemporary records from the frontier match Beale's description. No mining operations, no expedition parties, no discovery reports. This has led modern historians to conclude that if Thomas Beale was a real person, he was operating at the periphery of documented history. Or perhaps, and this remains the most likely scenario, the entire Beale story was a literary creation, a hoax that has aged into historical intrigue. Yet this conclusion, while intellectually satisfying, somehow makes the mystery even more compelling. Perhaps the Beale cipher's greatest lesson is not about treasure at all, but about human nature itself. For centuries, intelligent people, mathematicians, cryptographers, historians, ordinary citizens have devoted themselves to solving a puzzle that may have no solution. Why? What drives us to pursue the impossible? The answer speaks to something fundamental in the human spirit, our need to believe in hidden meaning, in mysteries waiting to be solved, in the possibility that fortune and revelation lie just beyond our grasp. The ciphers have become a mirror reflecting our deepest hopes and fears. They represent the belief that effort, intelligence, and persistence can overcome any obstacle, yet they also represent the sobering reality that some mysteries resist all attempts at resolution. We are drawn to impossible puzzles because they embody the paradox of human existence itself, the certainty that answers exist, coupled with the gnawing fear that they may forever elude us. The treasure hunters who came to Bedford County seeking gold discovered something far more valuable: the discovery that the search itself is the journey. The mystery is the message. The Beale cipher stands as a unique artifact in American history, a document that has defied 200 years of cryptographic, archaeological, and scholarly attempts to solve it. Whether Thomas Beale was a real person or a fictional character, whether the treasure exists or was always imaginary, the ciphers have proven to be extraordinarily effective at one thing: capturing human imagination. They have created a bridge between the rational world of mathematics and cryptography and the emotional world of hope, obsession, and the search for a meaning. Today, the ciphers remain in the care of historical societies, scanned and studied by researchers across the globe. New attempts are made every year. Artificial intelligence systems are fed the ciphers with the hope that machine learning might perceive patterns that human minds have missed. Someday, perhaps, one of the unsolved ciphers will yield its secrets, or perhaps it never will. And that ambiguity, that refusal to resolve into certainty, may be the greatest mystery of all. The Beale cipher reminds us that some questions don't demand answers, they demand our attention, our curiosity, and our willingness to venture into the unknown. The Beale cipher is, for me, a profound meditation on what it means to be human. Throughout my life, I have witnessed countless mysteries, some solved, some enduring, but few have struck me as profoundly as this one. What moves me most about the Beale cipher is not the prospect of gold buried in Virginia soil. It is the persistence of hope itself. For 200 years, ordinary people and brilliant minds have pursued this puzzle. They have sacrificed time, resources, and sometimes their sanity in pursuit of a treasure that may never exist. Yet they kept searching, they kept believing. In our modern world, where certainty is demanded and ambiguity is often rejected, the Beale cipher teaches us something vital: that the pursuit itself has value, that mystery has worth, that the human spirit is defined not by the answers we find, but by the questions we refuse to abandon. The Beale ciphers remind us that we are still explorers, still seekers, still driven by the same hunger that propelled Thomas Beale into the American frontier, and that propels us today to solve what has remained unsolved. I am Roni. I urge you, if you have found this story compelling, please engage with it. Subscribe to our channel to explore more forgotten chapters of American history that mainstream media refuses to discuss. Share this video with friends who appreciate mystery and historical depth. And if you yourself have insight into the Beale ciphers, if you believe you've discovered something that past researchers missed, I encourage you to document your findings and share them with the historical community. The mystery continues. The search goes on. History belongs to those curious enough to pursue it. Thank you for joining me on this journey into one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. Until next time, keep questioning, keep seeking, keep believing in the power of discovery. I